Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. We are live on CTV and Talk City 91.1 FM, streaming live on ctvtt.com. Well, Servol is an NGO and they are about to launch a donation initiative with Charity via NLCB at the end of June 2018. And here to tell us more about that initiative, we have the PRO of Servol, Renrick Daniel, and we also have the Marketing Officer, Valerie Remy. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting us and for us being here this morning. This initiative was born out of the fact that, well, you know what's happening now with the downturn in the economy. And as a result, we, as an NGO, are trying to reach out to our about 200,000 past trainees over the past 48 years. You know, Servol came into existence around 1970 with the Black Movement, Power Uprising and so on, and Father Pantin went up to Laventil. He was a priest, also an English teacher and a science teacher at CIC, and he went up there and met some men on the block, and Servol was born up. I think most people know the story by now. And over the past 48 years, a number of those years, the government has been funding us, and we are launching this program because of the need to continue our skills and development of our young trainees, young adults, which we cater for between age of 16 to 23 years. So with Charity, which was launched in 2017 by Christian Torres and Stephen Valdez, where they look at donations and funding for NGOs, and this charity is for registered NGOs. So it's not just NGOs who are not registered looking, you know, people could just swindle you and take your money. You know, people have known Servol, and we are a community institution, and I said we have been around for the past 48 years. So we are looking to do a program in the Warrenville area, where we want to renovate one of our buildings to accommodate a daycare, and you know, to help the young people in the society, young people in that area, because you know many people, they have children, they don't know where to drop them off, and Servol, we have never made the news where people have been, or children have been in our care, and anything have gone wrong. Our program is adopted throughout the world, and so we're inviting people to come on board and help with this donation drive.
Yes. Okay, so Ms. Remy, Servol, just to backtrack a bit, what exactly is Servol?
Well, first and primarily, Servol is a skills training institution. And as Sir said, we cater for students who are between the ages of 16 and 23, not necessarily only students who would not have done well in secondary schools, which seems to be, you know, the stigma associated with the organization. We have in Servol students who have their full certification, but on exiting secondary school, they recognize, hey, look, I have these subjects, but I don't have the necessary skills to be able to access meaningful employment. So we cater for students who are between 16 and 23 in a variety of skills, well over 22 skills. And they are divided into 4 main categories. So for students who are desirous of entering into like the construction industry, we have the construction programs grouped, you know, your welding, electrical, etc., masonry, etc. For those who desire to work in environments like your own, we have the computers and electronic programs being offered as well. And some of our programs carry the basic and the advanced components. So for that, we have in Laramine, Trinidad, our Advanced Skill Training Center, which caters for programs that would give the students the entry requirements to enter the manufacturing or the energy sector. So those are the higher end programs. For example, if a student were to come in and do electrical installation, our basic program is approximately 9 months, depending on the competencies of the student. The student now has the opportunity at the end of doing that to move on to our Advanced Skill Training Center, where he can do the Advanced Industrial Electrical Installation Program. And for those, it would carry the relevant examinations for that at that level as well. So students have the opportunity to move through the program and to be able to do the skills that they desire. And some of them carry both the local exam and the foreign examinations. And as I'm talking about exams, what I would like to know is that any program a student do in Servol carries a Servol trade certification. So the minimum a student would acquire is a Servol trade certification. And appended to that is the NEC examination for the relevant skill. And we have a corporate Trinidad has been really good to Servol. Some of our programs carry additional weight. For example, if a student were to come in to do our cosmetology program, which we call beauty culture, so this is what happens to that young person. Servol trade certification, first certificate. NEC certification, second certificate. And Sasha Trinidad, and you know that's international cosmetics. Sasha's partnered with us to give a third certification to that student. So that person can actually leave our program after 9 months, right, with 3 certificates, right? And what is wonderful about Servol is that some of our students coming, and they would have been students who would have been struggling in secondary schools, right? Some of them actually did drop out before they did their CXC examination. And what Servol offers is a second chance at 17 for these students.
Right, so let's talk a little bit about how recognized are these programs and also the caliber of lecturers or tutors that you'll have.
Okay, in Servol, well, you know the NEC is accredited certifications, right? So the NEC is accredited. The local Servol trade certification came about as a result initially when we had students who were not examinable. So rather than doing a program and at the end of the program, all the student would have gotten would have been a transcript. Servol devised an internal examination called the internal Servol trade certificate. So it's proof, you know, like if you do CXCs and you didn't get any CXC, right, you didn't get your passes, you at least have a transcript, a certificate that says I had reached up to secondary level, up to Form 5. So in that case, this is where the trade certification came in, right? Other certification that we also offer is students who are doing the advanced skill programs who come in without the prerequisites, which is math and English for advanced programs. Servol offers them the level 1 CXC certification in addition to the examination for the subject. And then, of course, we have international certification, like for electronics, you have the ETA, Electronic Technicians Association of America certification. And the students also have the opportunity to do, if they desire, external exams like City and Guilds and other associated examinations. So Servol is our programs, some of our programs are accredited, and the certificates are recognized outside.
Okay, wonderful. Mr. Daniel, I know in the secular schools we have an issue with discipline. Yes. How do you all treat with discipline?
Well, that is where the ADP, the Adolescent Development Program, comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's non-examinable. It's not at the end of it you do an exam. So it's based on 3 core areas: spirituality, self-awareness, and parenting. And in these areas, we seek to help the children or help the trainee to understand, for example, in parenting, we're not telling you to become a parent, but when you do become a parent, what are the, what is it all about? And of course, in Servol, we do have some trainees that already have, children. That's a fact. And as Ms. Remy has alluded to, sometimes that may have been why they dropped out from the secondary school. So there they have a second chance. And the ADP is well balanced. So you have other areas such as we have social studies, we have basic English, we have arts, and there is also survival cooking. And as I keep saying, survival cooking is where we tell the trainees it's not macaroni pie and stewed chicken and callaloo. Mm-hmm. It's what you have. So if you have rice and peas and you don't have salt, you use what you have in your cupboard. Because at the end of the day, we want them to become independent and, of course, delay, some of the desires that they may have, so that you go on a job, you get your job, and at the end of the month, you have to wait 30 days, 24 days to get your pay.
Yes.
So what do? Obviously, the first thing they want to do is borrow money. But at the end of the month, most of that money goes back into paying off what you. So if it is that you could delay your satisfaction, over a period of time, and you have your rice and your peas, well, eat rice and peas today. And if you have that tomorrow is peas and rice. And the next day, until you can get your money at the end of the month and say, okay, look, I can handle my stories. I know how to treat with certain issues. And the ADP is really our launch pad. Other, trainees find it very interesting. And at the end of it, I said, they look at your your attendance. Okay. You can't have more than 5 lates, 5 absence, because when you go to the job site,
Yes.
and as Ms. Remy said, we have people already, for example, digital media production, who deals with what we're doing here, television and so on. And you have to reach on time. You have to be there because the employer is depending on you.
Yes.
And you find that a lot of our trainees, as opposed to the other program, many of the employers prefer the Servol trainees. So you find that after the 9 months, as Ms. Remy said, they do their job training at, for example, this company. And when they finish, they say, we want to keep the trainee. So 99% of the time, the trainee gets employed.
So you have a junior life program as well?
Yes, we have a junior life program that is with an MOU with the government. And you find that after the SCA, which is about to release, I know some parents now hearts are beating more than the children. And they may not pass for their school. Now, some children will make less than 30%. And so we cater for with our MOU, the children who have made less than 30% in ESCA. Some have made 2%, 5%. And so you find it's remedial program that they're doing at the Junior Life Center. They have 5 years with us. And when they attain the age of 16, then they come across to the Regional Life Center, which they will pursue their skill. Okay, so 5 years, and within the 5 years, they will do the junior life as well as pursue a skill with us. Some of them will go on to do more than one skill, because if you do electrical installation, you might want to do a complementary skill. You might want to do masonry, because when you build the wall to run your pipes, you'll want to. Instead of telling the person, look, you need to get someone to plaster that wall, they will do a second skill. Some have done 3 skills, depending on how they have reached in the 5 years. But we encourage them to do more than one skill from when they finish the junior life program.
And you have a POP program.
The POP outreach. I'll let Ms. Remy talk about the POP.
The parent outreach program was born out of a desire to assist initially single parents, right? In many communities, Servol has silently been infiltrating the communities of Trinidad and Tobago, where our parenting facilitators go out. They assess the situation and they look at how can I help? Because that question in 1970 that father asked the community of Laventille, how can I help you, still exists today. It's the reason for our existence why Servol is in Trinidad and Tobago and the communities. So they go out into the communities and they seek out single parents, impoverished families, other social situations that would be happening in the communities, and they try to give these parents coping skills, right? So it's not just teaching them a craft that you can sell something, but they piggyback on the adolescent development program whereby they help the person themselves to internalize what their situation is and help them to come out of that, right? So they would work with them over a period of time and they would monitor and evaluate what is happening with the parents. And we have both male and female facilitators. And Verna, you would be amazed to know some of the situations that single parents are going through. And it sometimes speaks to what is happening with the student in the school. Because whatever is happening in the home inadvertently will spill off on the behavioral patterns of the student from primary right on to the secondary system.
Wow, that's really, I mean, I've heard about Servol. I just did not know you all go so deep into actual community life and helping life skills, as you said. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges as we chart the way forward.
Well, our programs, as we said, is geared towards the 16 to 23. You will know that trying to get a 16-year-old to settle into a skill and for them to take it seriously is a challenge. However, as I mentioned before, with ADP gets them ready for that.
Right.
So that the skill will last for 9 months, and at the beginning they are the juniors, second term is the inters, and the last term they are the seniors. That's when they go out on job training. The challenge, one of the challenge we have is having equipment, and this is what we're trying to do here with the charity T, is to have more up-to-date equipment and so on, so the children can be familiarized. So when they go out into the world of work, they can actually they know what they're doing, the capability, their competency levels are raised. And this is some of the challenges that we have, and this is what we're trying to go forward into a more technological era.
Yes.
All right, and that is where we'll be trying to help the trainees.
Yes. You know, when we talk about crime and we talk about the challenges that our youth face in terms of not having a male role model or a father figure, I'm thinking this is where these skills, teaching them to make do with what's in the cupboard and putting off taking debt, that's absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
How do you feel being a part of something like this?
Well, youth development, I've been in youth development for the past 30 years. You know, I've only been at Servol for the past 5 years, but before, you know, I've taught in the secondary schools and so on. So I know that beside the challenge, when you see a child come in, for example, from the street and probably from a gang, or where they're influenced by the gang, because of course if they lack the parental support home, they're going to find it on the street. And somebody's going to be taking that place, and normally the gang gives them that support. That sense of feeling and belonging, of course, is a false sense of belonging and hope. And when you see them come into the program and they're willing to change their mindset, settle long into a skill. I remember, and I keep saying right now, there's a young man we have working at Ventura, and he came in from Belmont, and we had a lot of challenge getting him there. He had to drop his sibling to school in the morning and get himself ready to come to class, and he would be late every day. But we gave him a chance in AVP, and we fought the good fight with him. And he went on to do street and painting. And we still had our challenges coming late, but we understood. And of course, you know, coming out from some parts of Belmont can be a challenge in itself. Sometimes they have to walk to school, try and get transport from over the hills to come down to Mova. And we got him into Ventura, and today, you know, he moved from just a prep man, where he's prepping the vehicle for the painters, to being straight from prep to painting. And he said, sir, now I have 3 vehicles.
Wow.
I have purchased 3 vehicles in less than about 2.5 years. And these are some of the success stories. Of course, we could speak about Miss Alicia Boucher, who's also passed our past training as well. She did garment construction, and now she's in the same field as you.
Yes.
And many others. Alicia Hospitalis, who is also now pursuing a PhD, and she came through Servol. She represented the government in I think it's the Malonia Ruka area, one of those areas, and now she's pursuing a PhD. So it's not just the place where people see on the BFAM and they think that this is what Servol is about. When you come in and you see what is happening, you'll definitely want to be a part of it, to see the change. If it is you really want to see the change, I mean, you know, we talk so much of negative about young people, but when you come in and you see the positive aspect of what is happening, then you just want to be a part of it. Even if you just want to donate your time, for example, like Fidel Ramphal, part of the organization, and he wants to come in and help with the digital media production and so on. And so we invited you, Ms. Vanna Barat, to be saying that, you know, you can come in and donate some time. And this all augurs well, not just for Servol, but for everyone in the country. Everybody benefits.
So you all recently started the early childhood care initiative as well. This has been ongoing for quite some time.
Servol has started, as long as Servol has been. We were the pioneers of early childhood care and education, and it was a vision of father, because remember initially when we started in 1970, and it was based on being able to give the people who were rioting in Port of Spain for equality and jobs, and look at the banks. There are people of our color in the bank, so we want equal rights and opportunity. When father started this program and started to develop these skills, right, what happened is that if you are coming into Servol to do a skill, what happens to your child? Where are you going to leave your child? Right. So that started there, and now, in addition to having the child care programs, we also offer early childhood care and education as a teaching program, a 2-year program in our Pembroke Street Center. 1 year in class and 1 year internship, and at the end of it, that student would acquire the matriculation to go on to their bachelor's in education in early childhood care and education. So you're looking at somebody who probably dropped out of school, didn't pass then common entrance, being able to come into Servol, and at the end of the 2 years would be able to have that sense of self-esteem and want to move on to go on to higher levels of training. You know, as Sir was talking about success stories, I just need to share this with Trinidad and Tobago. We had a student, at one time I was a teacher in classroom in Servol incidentally, right? What Servol does is that we actually hire from within, and a number of our teachers teachers who were initially students. Actually, our director today was a student of Servol as well. So this is the dynamics of Servol. So I'm going back to when I was in classroom. I had a student, and I need to mention his name, Kenwin Allen. Came in and couldn't spell cabbage. I taught food prep at the time. And after leaving Servol, Kenwin owned and operated a bakery on the corner of Prince and Charlotte Street, the old Quaylos building. And he was there up to about 2 years ago when he lost his legs to diabetes on the 2nd level. He left the business to his wife. And that didn't stop him. You know why? That tenacity, that drive that adolescent development program gave him. He's now managing a business somewhere in Champlain with no legs, on a wheelchair, baking. Most of the pie men in Port of Spain are selling his pies. And this is a young man, hadn't the Servol program been there would not have been a gateway for him to be able to be self-sufficient today. And that's the power of the Servol network. And every day you see these small miracles happening. I'm so proud to be a part of an organization that does something like this.
Wonderful. Resilience at its very best.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get to it. So this initiative is really to renovate the Warrenville Center into a daycare facility, correct?
Facility, that's correct.
And you are calling on past trainees, which you've had about 200,000.
Yeah.
You're just asking for a donation of $20 and above,
Yes.
correct? Is there a number to call? How do they contact you?
Well, the charity tea, what we have launched, and it's starting from today, that you could go to any NLCB outlet, and there are 900 outlets throughout Trinidad and Tobago, and you go there to MyPay and number 15. We are number 15, and you donate your $20 and up. So if you, Vanna, decide after this program that you're willing to donate half of your salary to this worthy cause, you are free to go to any LCB outside. You go to account number 15, MyPay, and you deposit half of your account, so half of your salary. So we are appealing to the 200,000 trainees, past trainees, and also current trainees, and people who have access to our programs, that they can do so from today. The account is open from today and onward. So we appreciate and we are looking forward to those 200,000 past trainees, as well as everyone in this room doing their part in donation.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I'm Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune. I promised to pledge half of my salary. Thank you so much. We've been chatting with the PRO of Servol, Renrick Daniel, and also Ms. Valerie Remy, Marketing Officer. Excellent initiative. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the wonderful work that you all are doing.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're most welcome. We take a short break, a lot more when we return. Stay tuned.